Boys, welcome back to the channel. Gentlemen, in this video, we are going to be speaking about how to hold a masculine frame in communication, how to effectively and clearly communicate and all these things, okay? Gentlemen, before anything, I did just launch my brand new 10K Mastery program. You can check it out. It's the first link in the description. I'll talk more about it at the end of this video. In short, how to make your first 10K online through personal branding. Okay, so gentlemen, let's get straight into the video. A lot of you have asked me through the course of my YouTube channel and me posting consistently, Brandon, how is it that you have become so well at effectively communicating, at speaking so clearly? And I think there was really 2 to 3 main points that allowed me to get to this point, okay? And so the very first thing by far, which is a non-negotiable, was just practice. From a very young age, was I always recording myself. As funny and as weird as that is, I couldn't even tell you why. Like, I was always just recording myself on camera. If it was playing basketball, if it was playing soccer, football, if it was me getting new clothes, I'd take pictures. Bro, I had a Facebook way back in like 2008, I believe it was, or 2000 and whenever, some 2012 might even been, because I was in Germany and I was trying to communicate with people in my family back in the United States. And so I created a Facebook, and through that process was I just getting used to documenting, getting used to keeping people updated in my life, my family, all these things. And so I always just had a camera on me. And what did that allow? That allowed for me to always just be speaking and reviewing, because as I would record myself, I would then watch these videos all the time, right? And so it wasn't until I'd say about 5 years ago where I really started to take this seriously, but just through my entire life was I always documenting on camera, practicing speaking in a way subconsciously, right? And like I said, 5 years ago is when I really took it seriously, and I just started posting on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and until this day, I mean 5 years later, you guys can scroll back on this channel and see some of my very first videos, how I was speaking back then, how I speak now. And so it was really a process of repetition, okay? So that's the first thing. You just get good by doing. I always say this. I'm a big believer in action solves a lot of your problems, okay? The second thing I had to do was become more competent. Now, as funny as that sounds, I just had to get better, and I'm still working on this to date, on expanding my knowledge when it comes to literature, bro, when it comes to just languages, when it comes to my vocabulary. Because in this process was I able to understand the importance of using a complex dynamic in your speech. And that, as I mentioned, is something I'm still working on to this date, because to an extent, I still am myself, and I don't necessarily go out of my way to formulate these complex sentences and put certain words in line to make me sound smarter than I fucking am. Like, I'm not a real big believer in that, but I always noticed in reading, in expanding my vocabulary and just that area of my expertise in my mind, did it allow me to have a better flow and understanding of just communication, because I can come up with these words, I understand them, it makes me, again, look cooler, sound cooler, whatever. And so that definitely helped as well. And I did this through a lot of reading, specifically 4.5 years ago. And I believe in high school helped a little as well. And then back in elementary school was also quite a bit of a reader. But through that in process of reading, of expanding my vocabulary, did this also help tremendously, okay? Now, the last thing I want to speak about is really holding a masculine frame in speech. Because I always used to be that guy that when I spoke to somebody, I would ask indirectly, or I would speak indirectly. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, if I was speaking to somebody and I was trying to ask for something, instead of just asking what the fuck I was wanting to do or wanting to get, whatever it was, I would beat around the bush and formulate the sentence with a bunch of bullshit to sound like a nice guy, basically, to again, ask what I was trying. So for example, I'd be like, Hey, is there any way by chance, if you get a moment, that you could possibly blah, blah, blah? Like, did you see, like, I fucking just went 3 different routes in that sentence instead of just being like, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, I need this done, whatever, right? And so I believe holding a masculine frame in your speech is just being very clear, very direct, and straight to the point. Okay, it doesn't allow for all this beating around the bush. It doesn't allow for all this shyness, this insecurity, this sense of you don't want to come across in a wrong way. But have I noticed in trying to do those things and trying to avoid, I don't even want to call it conflict or confrontation. It was like, when you start to do these things, does it actually not benefit you as opposed to benefiting you? When you ask somebody a question, but you're beating around the bush, or you're trying to ask in a nice way, in the world of business, in the world of being a masculine man and operating at a certain level, you understand that time is money. You understand that the more clear you are, the more effective you are. And those two things coming together is what allows you to have a certain level of speech, of communication skills. And so when you deviate from that, and now, as I used to always, like, I remember there were so many times in my life, every conversation I ever had, yeah, so by chance, is it possible that we could maybe get this done if there was blah, 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 this, bro? I'm telling you, like, literally, I would catch myself saying that so many times. And in that, bro, when you try to avoid and ask the question in like a non-direct way, sometimes what you are asking and trying to communicate can be misunderstood because you just tried all of that bullshit. And so now you might have just completely fucked up a conversation and fucked up what you're actually trying to get across because you were avoiding these things. And so this is why it was so important for me to swing the pendulum to the other side and become and hold a very masculine frame in my speech and getting straight to the point. Understanding in sales, I had to start asking people very or questions that most would deem uncomfortable when you like talk about a certain topic when it came to money and all these things. And so through this process of me really working in sales, did this help tremendously because now I would ask questions. I would ask people questions like, hey, how much money do you make? Oh, perfect. How much money are we playing with? Oh, perfect. How much money do you have right now to put down so that we can get this deal done? Like certain things like that, and any question really. But that was more so the example because beforehand, I would approach conversations. I would approach conversations in approach conversations and just approach speaking to people in general with this level of insecurity of I don't even know if I should call it femininity, but just being shy, being not comfortable with the conflict and addressing things head on. I'd be like, okay, got you. So like this, and that, and like trying to get answers to certain questions without asking directly, right? And did that prohibit my success in certain situations? And it was again through these experiences, through learning from people that were levels ahead of me and they were and watching them, shadowing them, again learning every time they spoke, seeing how they approach conversations, was like, damn, this guy's fucking good. And other people respect when you are straight up. Other people respect when you don't fucking beat around the bush and you cut the chase, right? And so in all these things, did it really allow me to just hold a masculine frame and be able to communicate clearly and effectively. And now I have the ability to, again, express myself clearly, express myself effectively. And then I can always go back and I don't even want to say go back to being able to beat around the bush, but it's more so now I have the skill set in my fucking caliber, in my whatever you want to call this, right, in me to be able to communicate clearly and effectively, but also through the process of just speaking on camera over the years of communicating, of expanding my vocabulary in a way and reading, have I become a better storyteller. A better storyteller, right? Because it was really a combination of all these things. It's not like I just fucking woke up and somehow started speaking and I was great at it. No, right? It's like I actively always know when I'm trying to do something and trying to get good at something, right? It is like, it just makes sense. And that's why a lot of you might not have a masculine frame right now in your speech, or you might not be able to communicate effectively and clearly. You might sound like an idiot like I did. You might sound like a bitch like I did beforehand, but it's like, when have you actually taken the time to try and improve this? When have you actually put aside and put effort into improving this thing? It's like you probably haven't, right? And then that was me. It wasn't until I started noticing these things and until I started seeing people operate at a certain level did I self-reflect and realize the weaknesses I had and try to improve upon them. And I'm still trying to improve, right? Still trying to get better every single day. And in that, was I like, okay, self-realization is really key here. Putting attention to the areas of my life where they need to be going as soon as possible. So that's the best pieces of advice I can really give to you when it comes to being able to communicate clearly and effectively. It's like practice, record yourself, watch yourself back. I always notice, and to this day, I've actually noticed this yesterday, I say again a lot. And so I am actively removing that from my speech. I'm going to stop trying to say again, again, again. And that only happened because of my review, because I would watch myself. Every single one of the videos that I post, I watch when I post it, before it goes up or even after it goes up. And then if I don't get that done, I watch it before the end of the day, because I always want to improve. I always want to, okay, how did I sound? How was this perceived? How did this come across? Right? And in that process, am I able to improve and get better? And then again, just communicate clearly and more effectively. So boys, that pretty much sums it up. Now, before this video ends, I want to briefly speak about the 10K Mastery program that I dropped. So much fucking work has gone into this program. I've been grinding at this nonstop. I haven't even been mentioning it that much until these last couple of days in the videos, just because I've been literally putting my head down and grinding at this. This is by far the best program that I have released to date. It's literally a 3-phase process of the 3 key things that helped me get to my first $10,000 online. Did I really notice that there were 3 things that directly correlated to how successful I was and how efficient, how fast I was able to do these things? And those 3 things were getting my mind and body straight, building the mental fortitude, right? Building the confidence to put myself out there, building the confidence in myself to do the things that I wanted without caring what other people think. The second thing after that was learning how to market. I don't fucking have a marketing degree, and somehow I've managed to get over 100 million people to see my face. Somehow I've managed to build a following of 500,000 people on social media, right? And then the last thing I had to learn is how to actually convert that attention that I got, how to convert the marketing and turn it into actual cash flow and bank in the fucking cash in the bank. So it was body and mind, personal branding, and selling. Those were really the 3 things that contributed a lot of the success to me getting to my first $10,000. And to this date, I think those 3 skills right there, you master those 3s and you'll be set for life, bro. And that's literally what I've built the 10K Mastery program around, is learning that exact 3-phase process. Becoming a Spartan, marketing yourself, having intent behind personal branding, knowing how to perceive yourself online, putting an offer together, selling it online, literally constructing your online business and then selling, getting good at selling. How is it now that you're going to convert that attention into fucking cash? So boys, if you want to check it out, it's the first link in the description. First 50 spots are 50% off, so go get them before they run out. As always, I appreciate you guys for supporting the fucking content and supporting me. It really, truly means the fucking world. As I've changed my life, it's time to fucking change yours. Stop waiting. Go check out the program right now. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.